Well, it's not technically the Lombardi AM scramble unless you're in Hawaii, but it is 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. Couldn't come live this morning, but I'll make up for it. We'll call it lunch with Lombardi without the food because I'm here in downtown San Francisco and I've got to go get some food right after we're done. But today on The Athletic, we had an exciting piece because, as you know, the 49ers roster builder has been roaring this week. I know a lot of you have partaken in it. Well, Matt Barrows and I, who designed the roster builder itself, decided to take it for a spin, and we built our own 49ers roster. So this video is exactly what I'm titling it, How I Built My 2023 49ers Roster Against the Salary Cap. The link to the article is in the description, so go ahead and check that out. Jimmy Ward is on the team. Yes, that's why he is in the headlining picture. And our headline itself is Build your own 49ers rosters. Can you do better than our beat writers? That is me, and that is Matt Barrows. So anyway, without further ado, here is my roster. We could stretch this sucker out across the entire screen. Take a look at it, go through some of the main points, and I'll be talking and making my own little frame bigger intermittently. First point, offensive line. Let's talk about what I did here along the O-line, because obviously we have a limited cap space to work with. Those of you who haven't tried out this sheet yet, make sure you go and check it out. But here, with the limited cap space, I could not retain Mike McGlinchey. But I did bring back, as you can see right here, this is where my cursor is. I did bring back Jake Brendel at $4 million. I signed a budget veteran. That's one of the options at right tackle, and I specified that budget veteran was Billy Turner. Now, I really like Billy Turner because he played for several seasons with the Packers as, you know, kind of a sixth offensive lineman, but got a few starts there. His best seasons all came in that LaFleur scheme with the Packers. And Billy Turner played on a relatively cheap deal last year for Denver at just about $2 million per year. So I signed him as a budget veteran. I think the 49ers will be able to fit under a budget with somebody like Billy Turner. And what that does is I think that it insulates some of the risk of starting Colton McKivitz at right tackle. I think, you know, I tendered Colton McKivitz. He's going to be a restricted free agent. I slapped the second round tender on him, meaning that the 49ers would get a second round draft pick in return if somebody bid more for Colton McKivitz and the 49ers didn't match the offer sheet. So $4.3 million for the second round tender for Colton McKivitz and, you know, about $1 million to $2 million for Billy Turner. You could run a platoon if you want at right tackle. Bill Walsh ran platoons at right tackle. The 49ers ran a platoon at right guard last year between Spencer Burford and Daniel Brunskill. But in my opinion, the most important thing that you can do along the offensive line is build option power. Option power is what got the 49ers all the way to the NFC Championship game last season due to the quarterback position. You know, at right guard, option power helped them a lot. But at right tackle, if you can't pay McGlinchey $15 million plus a year, build yourself some good option power. Colton McKivitz, in a smaller sample size last year, obviously, than Mike McGlinchey, was a better pass protector. But we don't know how that's going to translate over a larger sample size. And we do know that Billy Turner, especially in that Packers system, which is resemblant of the 49ers system, has a higher floor than, you know, some random rookie or even Colton McKivitz. We know what the floor for Billy Turner is going to be. So that's why I would sign Billy Turner. It's economically efficient. You can pair him with Colton McKivitz, and you could let competition figure things out at that right tackle position. So I love the platoon there. All right, let's go to the defensive line. Let's make this big again. Go over up to the top right, D-line. Justin Houston, going to be 34 years old. Not young, but he could still generate pressure against the passer. And, you know, because he is advancing in age, that's why he's an edge rusher that I think you could pick up for $4 to $5 million per year. Can the 49ers re-sign Charles Omenihu? Maybe. Maybe the price will come in somewhere where they like it. Omenihu obviously is a better pressure guy than a finisher. He still hasn't developed, I think, that last little bit of his edge rushing game to rack up a ton of sacks, but maybe that's going to come this year. And maybe that's going to delay Omenihu's paycheck by a season. Who knows? If they can bring back Charles Omenihu on top of somebody like Justin Houston, who reminds me a lot maybe of the Elvis Dumervil signing back in 2017. That's great. You can never have too many good edge rushers, but it is going to be pricey to field good edge rushers. Somebody else that I could theoretically flirt with bringing back, but I only have $3.22 million of cap space is Arden Key. Let's look here. Let's say that I brought back Arden Key instead of Jordan Willis. All of a sudden, I'm in the red here at the top by $3 million. So then I have to figure out ways to make things cheaper elsewhere. Well, how do I do that? Gosh, I don't know, because I didn't splurge on defensive tackle. I decided to go rookies with defensive tackle. I used a third-round draft pick here, and then I signed a budget veteran in McGill. That's a re-signing. He was with the 49ers last year. My mock draft, you'll see it here in the bottom left. I went Jervon Dexter out of Florida, big 6'6" DT that I think that Chris Kasarik would like to work with. I used one of my third-round picks on him. The problem is with the salary cap, you're going to have to make tough decisions. You're not going to be able to splurge on everybody. And when I asked John Lynch about how he thought the 49ers would operate at defensive tackle if they were going to try to make a splash signing, he said, he indicated no. He said that they would have to make do with what they have, with one-year signings, cheaper players, and obviously with their 10 draft picks. So I think that's how the 49ers are going to operate. But I do think, you have so many pending free agents at the edge position. Willis is a pending free agent. You lost Arden Key a year ago. He's going to be a free agent again. I just mentioned that. Sansom Ebukam is going to be a free agent next week. Charles Amenahu, free agent next week. You've got to replenish that position. And when you look at it right here, this is an emphasis on how important this guy, Drake Jackson, is going to be toward the 49ers. You need to get that next level of development from Drake Jackson to supplement Nick Bosa, because it's going to be really pricey. You're going to have to use a lot of capital to fill in other players. So right now you can see I have Arden Key. I'm over the cap, so I got to take Arden Key off. Marcus Davenport, turns out the more I'm reading about this, the more expensive Marcus Davenport is going to be, at least according to people who are writing about the league. I thought with only like half a sack last year, Davenport would be cheaper. That's why I predicted the 49ers might go after him. But boy, if that cap hit is this high, I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. There's going to be a lot of edge rushers because guys have gotten released. Frank Clark, Bud Dupree, both available. Of course, you got Jadeveon Clowney, but he's probably going to want $10 million a year. So, we'll see if the 49ers would be able to pick up somebody like that. For now, we could leave that position open to either draft pick or, as I said, Jordan Willis. All right, next on the list, Robbie Gould. As you'll notice, I have Robbie Gould coming back right here in the kicker spot. Robbie Gould coming back. Now, our roster builder has Robbie Gould allotted for a $4.9 million cap hit. I think this is the point of contention. I think the 49ers want to keep that salary down around $4 million, like low $4 million, because as you can see, every million matters to this team in the cap situation that they're currently in. A top 3 kicker would be making $5 million per year. So Robbie Gould is 40 years old. I think he wants top 3 money because he's 29 of 29, NFL record in the playoffs. And I think the 49ers are saying, well, you're 40. The decline might be happening soon. The kickoffs aren't as great as they could be with a younger leg. We love how reliable you are. We'd love you back, but we want you at our price given our cap situation. It's a little bit of a conundrum, right? You want Robbie Gould and you want that dependability because you're a playoff team. But the only way that you're going to be able to push for a Super Bowl as a playoff team is if you keep your salary cap situation as healthy as possible. So you have to have a number for Robbie Gould that he can't exceed so that you can take care of the rest of the roster. I think that number is $4 million, like flat. I don't think they want the cap hit to be bigger than $4 million. Robbie Gould has said, I'm not kicking for the 49ers next year. But he also tried to say similar stuff after they franchise tagged him in 2019. They didn't tag him this year. The deadline for the tag has come and gone. And that means that the 49ers have less leverage here. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. But he can circle back if he's not getting the top 3 money that I think he's seeking, Robbie Gould, right? If other teams say, hey, this guy's 40, he could decline to give him that kind of money. We're going to have to make a multi-year commitment to spread the cap hit out. I think he could circle back to the 49ers. He played 2 seasons for them in 2017 and 2018 at $2 million per year. It was a 2-year, $4 million deal. So I think the 49ers could afford a 2-year, $8 million deal, $4 million per year, push back some of it into the second year, maybe add a void year, something like that. I think ultimately these two sides can sit down, hash this out if that's what they so desire. And hey, in my roster, as you can see, that is exactly what happened. Robbie Gould, he's aboard for 4.9. Now, the way that I justified it is I think Billy Turner might be a little bit more expensive than 1.17, which is the budget veteran automatic amount that the spreadsheet generates. So I think that it will even out. I think that if the 49ers get Gold at 4 million and Turner at 2 million, it'll even itself out. Finally, we got one last little surprise in my roster. Nick Mullins is back, baby. I theoretically could have afforded a more expensive QB3, but I know that this is going to be a weird negotiation for whichever veteran the 49ers end up adding, right? Because you're going to have to find somebody who's okay with being like third on the pecking order. I know that Brock Purdy's surgery is tomorrow, and we're going to get a firmer timetable, so maybe that will steer which way the 49ers go. But finding a QB that's okay with being number 3 on the pecking order, which might mean a practice squad demotion, right? That's not as much money. That's going to be tough. Or you carry 3 on the active roster and you compromise the roster elsewhere. So, for players like Marcus Mariota, it might be hard to convince him to take that role on the football team, on the pecking order, right? But I think that somebody like Nick Mullins, you could get him at essentially the veteran minimum. He's been QB3 of the 49ers before. This guy is now officially a career backup. Well, you've got him. You can plug him in. He knows Shanahan's system. I'll offer you this. The 49ers would have been, or they would have stood a much better chance of winning the NFC Championship game had they been able to turn to somebody like Nick Mullins instead of Josh Johnson. Let's just put it that way. Would they have won? Probably not. I think that, Brock Purdy is better than Nick Mullins by a significant margin, but it really cratered once it got down to Josh Johnson. And then obviously it totally bottomed out once Josh Johnson suffered his concussion. So Mullins is back. You could see it on my roster builder right here. Top left is where the QBs are. There's Nick Mullins, budget veteran. And he's on the team fitting on that 53-man roster. I have some buffer room, as you could see, $3.22 million. That means that the 49ers will have some in-season spending maneuverability, which is actually really, really necessary when you look at the grand scheme of things. You need to maintain in-season spending maneuverability. So this is what it looks like. Can you build a better roster than me? I challenge you to. I'm copying and pasting the link to our rosters. There's also a link to the roster builder there. Subscribe to The Athletic, and please do check it out. All right, so lunch with Lombardi. What should I eat? I need to get some good food right now because then I need to turn around and write an article about the 49ers free agents. It's going to come out tomorrow. A lot of people like Nick Mullins coming back. Sometimes you can't be too picky at your third quarterback spot, as the 49ers they learned both sides of that coin. I guess Brock Purdy was really good as a third quarterback, but then later in the season, I guess you can't be picky on your fourth quarterback spot, was the lesson of the NFC Championship game. All right. Well, Mullins and Purdy had the same injury, right? A torn UCL. Now we're going to know exactly what the extent of Purdy's damage is tomorrow, presumably, if that surgery goes forward. I think it will. I'm just, a little gun shy with that because they pushed it back here. But with the exact prognosis tomorrow, we'll know the months for Brock Purdy to a potential return. And we'll also know exactly what operation he will have undergone, right? Nick Mullins, when he tore his UCL in 2020, became the first QB ever in the NFL to undergo the internal brace procedure, which can bring you back in 6 months. That's what Brock Purdy's hoping for, but a hybrid reconstruction is still in the cards. I think there's a lot of unknown going into this operation tomorrow. All right, so those of you just joining, it says Nick Mullins is back. That's not actual news. That is my roster builder. That's what I did. Let's see if you could build a better roster. I have built my 2023 49ers roster. I'm very happy about it. Everybody go check it out right here. Link in the description and in the comment section. I'm about to go get some food and go crank out some more content for you. So more lives coming, more videos coming. Got a good background here, so I'm happy with it. And I will talk to you all very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye now.